names in the family tree Muslim has never even heard about. Places she does not know. Akhmeni, Vilnius, Kretinga, they are just names to her. A family tree is a set of tags. It does not disclose the lives of the people to whom the names belong, what they were like, the homes from which they were torn. There are dead shoots amongst the buds, messed up blossoms that have fallen off, moist soil clinging to straggly roots. She scrutinises the photographs of her great-grandparents. They look like aliens, but also welcoming. Names repeat themselves like automated phone calls through the generations. She remembers her mother, sowing the seed of death in her, telling her how her great-grandmother lost her daughter and afterwards did not smile for a year. Her grandfather's homestead ripped by fire in Lithuania. She wants to memorialise these people, but also knows that a family passport does not necessarily mean a common cause. Her grandfather wrote his memoir. No one would publish it. Now it is on the internet, archiving an extinguished way of life. How euphoric he would have been to know his words were evergreen. Memory is bricolage, not reproduction. Scraps, scribblings, shred, slivers, mix, reassemble. Memory is a collage, not a video recorder. Slabs from several separate quarries slip and slide into a single building. Such slabs predict towering stone walls, less accurately, more readily, from rubble to reliving. The city fitted out with carpets of rubble, the splintered remains of cups and saucers, the arms and legs of psychotic buildings severed from their familial torsos. Windows punched through, victims of a boozy fight, roofs that have aerobically lifted themselves off, facades masking as theatrical props. Generation after generation pounded and pummeled the Nazi era, hoping for a knockout blow, but the past always picked itself up. The Baader-Meinhof gang, children of a nauseous past, declared war on fascist imperialism. They thought fighting it would free them, but history is a sly bully and seriously unforgiving. However much Hessian burrowed, she could not remember the moment of her conception, nor could she tell the story of her birth. But she did know that the day she arrived was marked by a giant-size absence, a large, non-fillable hole. The Germans had lost Leningrad and were retreating. Later, when she visualized her father, he was always walking backwards, away, becoming more distant, his blurred face still holding her gaze. Years later in Grafton, bamboo bending in the wind. The White Rose, 1943, the year of her birth. Non-violent fighters, they were slaughtered. Her mother is 20 when she gives birth to her. She is so afraid and homesick that she scratches on the wallpaper of her tiny room, on top of the gas stutter. She is taken in a cradle to the air raid shelter under the house. A raid on the inarticulate. An assault on guilt and innocence, plundering simultaneity. Unheimlich. Heimlich. When I am dead, will I still be mouthing poems? I discovered that they had a child who died. Remember me, but forget my fate. Immersed in my performance, I had a sudden memory lapse. My shame refused to lie down. How did you know how to write? Who told you what to do? Creativity was a formula her mother thought, acquired through osmotic touch. Jewishness hung heavily about her, a cumbersome overcoat. Sometimes an embrace felt more like suffocation. The fog of war curls round the fresh breath of thought. My first published poem had a typo in it that decimated the flow. The art of performance thrilled but scared me. Snakes twined round my legs. Meanwhile, your grandfather shows his love for you by chasing you with an axe. My aunt was bipolar and liaised between behavioural extremes. It's better to marry someone you dislike than not to marry, her mother said. Outrages came and went, outtakes from a forgotten filming. Your father fought in the German army. Why hadn't I realised that? My mother's boyfriends wrote sentimental love poems from their billets. You furtively ate the salami, followed by a resounding slap. The art of listening has never been more unfashionable. About your own culture, you know too much, and yet too little. Each aunt, a silent heroine, hands down a legacy of hiding. The friendly. Heimlich as home, the warm, the friendly, the intimate. You pick images as if they were needles falling snow-like in a digital garden. Pasts and presents hold hands or put up fists for a chilling fight. Footage of the coiffured family, profiles at carefully manicured angles, burn from the stubborn soil of family life. Unheimlich. You try the images on like torn, transparent overcoats. Blur, amplify the garments underneath. A photograph of a young violinist, bones you gathered in Tasmania, feathers from the wings of rainbow lorikeets. Strangers locked together in transient monogamy. Errant songfulness. Aunts and uncles stare us down expectantly from chaotic family albums, determined to have their say but not to gift us too much, claiming a bond we sometimes invite, sometimes repel. Studied smiles mask craggy marriages, queasy ruptures, mealy-mouthed collisions. Combat spreads beyond the frame that holds it. Character diffused in the oozing stench of context. Young faces reassert swarms of former selves. The sealed secrets and desires focus struggles to expose. Heat beyond fire, salt beyond seasoning. We look for what we cannot find. We dig for what we think we need to know. But what we cannot apprehend eludes us.